There was a heavy police presence, a lot of security guards, but no major or significant issues at this meeting, even though tempers and emotions certainly flared. Tense moments and heated exchanges at Dearborn School Board meeting Thursday night as parents, residents, and community stakeholders sounded off on LGBTQ books in the district's library system.
To the LGBT community, the majority of parents are not here to attack your right to exist in a free society. Criticism of age-inappropriate content is not criticism of the LGBT community.
This was actually round 2 for the board, which suspended Monday's meeting over safety concerns. The massive turnout in the smaller space broke the fire code. Capacity was limited to about 600 people inside the Stout Middle School auditorium. Those who could not get in filled overflow spaces. Almost everyone wanted to weigh in on the issue at hand.
Banning LGBT books isn't going to stop anyone from being gay. It will just make them miserable and alienate them. And the consequences might be fatal.
Dearborn Schools is reviewing 6 library books, including This Book is Gay and All Boys Are Not Blue, after a parent complained about them, saying they were sexually explicit and inappropriate for kids.
A normal, psychologically sound and stable mind would come to a conclusion that that specific material is nothing but sexually explicit.
Those who disagree say this uproar is not about books at all.
So let's stop pretending this is about protecting children from books. We all know this is about erasing our LGBTQ students and staff. It was literally written on signs people brought to the meeting on Monday.
The pushback against the LGBTQ books has made unlikely bedfellows out of Muslims and some political conservatives. GOP candidates Christina Caramo and Matt DePerno and Republican lawmaker Jim Runstad and Matt Maddock were front and center at Thursday's meeting.
Our community, like many others across the country, is being intentionally divided by political players whose agenda revolves around anti-public school teachers, not what is best for students.
This issue comes up in Dearborn, but it's the same issue we're seeing in Grand Rapids. We're seeing it in Kalamazoo. We're seeing it in Northern Michigan. We're seeing it everywhere where school boards think that they can ignore the rights of the parents in terms of how their children are educated.
Now, guys, the books in question are off the shelves as the district reviews them. It is also revamping its library book review process and is removing volumes that, quote, students are no longer using, that are out of date, or that are not age appropriate for that school level. Now, Dearborn Schools has also made it a lot easier, is making it easier for parents to limit what books and materials their kids can have access to. Reporting live in Dearborn, I'm Randy Wembley, and this is The Edge.
You know you're in a cult if 1. You believe you are what your imagination says you are. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You know you're in a cult if 6. You believe reality isn't real. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You know you're in a cult if 10. Thanks to Jamie Lee Curtis, who didn't know how many Oscars she'd won, them can't count. You know you're in a cult if 11. You will cry in protest to take a real black woman off a syrup bottle and a Quaker off a box of oats named Quaker Oats, only to put a fake white woman on a beer can. All while saying, I can't believe they're so upset over a beer can. Bud Light parent Anheuser-Busch's stock has lost $27 billion over Dylan Mulvaney. You know you're in a cult if 18. Lost your shit over To Kill a Mockingbird and Huckleberry Finn but are screaming about banning books with gay sex and masturbation in school libraries. You know you're in a cult if 21. Being so filled with hate, you will groom, mutilate, and murder your own children, all while calling your opposition fascists. You know you're in a cult if 25. Will refer to a biology book as right-wing propaganda. You know you're in a cult if 26. Will lose your shit if someone actually uses proper English instead of your made-up pronouns. You know you're in a cult if 32. Are the same people who say you can't indoctrinate kids to be gay with a book or a drag show, but continually accuse the church of doing that very thing. Although religion isn't taught in schools, and you're not forced to go to church. You know you're in a cult if 33. When someone is simply talking science and common sense, you will try to bring religion into it. Well, you know the church. Well then, don't go to church. It's not against the law. Not going to school is. You know you're in a cult if 34. Will use unrelated behavior to justify their sick, grooming behavior. You know you're in a cult if 39. Will lose your shit when someone says you're in a woke cult, and to prove you're not, you do the things on this list over and over and over. You know you're in a cult if 46. Consider chemically castrating a pedophile horrible and inhumane, but chemically castrating a child just dandy.